Hello and welcome to another Turntable 20s. I'm your host, Sam Moorhouse, and I'm joined today by Afia Gyamera, who's the founder and CEO of 40 Analytics. Hey, Afia, how are you?
Hey Sam, I'm happy to be here and I'm looking forward to this conversation.
Awesome. Well, why don't we start a little bit? Why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself and your background and like where you're at right now and where you went to school and all that kind of stuff?
All right, it's quite a long story, so I'll keep it short. My name is Afia. I'm the CEO and co-founder of 40 Analytics. It's a data and AI-driven company that helps businesses scale using data and AI automations. I'm based here in Ghana. I've been in the tech space for the last 10 to 12 years. I started off my career in marketing tech and eventually it scaled into product and now operations. And now I'm living the CEO life, I guess, founder life. Yeah,
The founder grind.
exactly.
Cool. Well, look, I mean, you said it first, so let's start with AI. Why don't you tell us a little bit about, like, where are we gaining the most immediate ROI from using AI in operations? Like, where's the payoff? Is it workflows? Is it customer data? Is it elsewhere? What's the key?
So let me just start off. So my favorite thing about AI is how it's very easy to apply in almost every industry. So usually when there are technological advancements, like say EVs or whatever it is, it's usually it's pertaining to a particular industry. But with AI, it applies to a lot of industries and it helps improve the operations for a lot of industries. So when I'm talking to people, AI is like a buzzword that everyone is using nowadays. And um, some people attach different levels of complexity to the word, but it's basically, to me, a tool or an innovation that helps businesses scale their operations in ways that no one ever imagined could be possible in these years. So you asked the question, what is the highest return on investment in AI when it comes to operations? And for me and from the clients I've worked with, the highest return is really when it comes to building AI agents. So this is a bit scary for people because then it looks like, AI is replacing the workforce and what does the future hold for everyone else. But then the thing is, if you're running a business, AI is more of your friend than your enemy in the sense that there will always be the need for the human touch. But then with the way things are moving fast, it's important that your operations are scaling as fast as your competitors are scaling. So AI agents is the biggest thing for me right now. It helps in so many ways. So I've seen different use cases. I've seen companies use AI agents to manage their social media accounts, for example. So this operational flow, which should have involved a content creator, a graphic designer, a social media manager. Now, with a series of automations, you can literally be posting every single day, and it allows your company to be competitive when it comes to social media algorithms. I've seen companies use AI for chatbots that usually just eliminates human error. So, if you're running a global company, there are different backgrounds in terms of your staff, and not everyone is necessarily a native English speaker. So having these type of tools in your business helps you to avoid mistakes that come with grammatical errors, just cultural misbalances. So yeah, AI agents is the biggest ROI for me right now when it comes to operation.
Agents is the best thing. And you talked about a couple of misconceptions or missteps there, like when people are approaching AI, maybe from outside the technology space. What are the biggest, I guess, the biggest misconceptions that you've seen when people try to like automate with AI? And most importantly, how do you course correct?
Okay, so there are two main ones, right? The first one is the very popular one, and this is what every podcast, every TV show is talking about. Will AI replace human beings? Now, I believe that AI will not replace human beings, but AI could replace human beings who refuse to learn or use AI in their operations. Now, the thing is, it's super competitive. There are certain things that you would always need a human touch for, but if you are stuck in your ways and you don't adopt the AI trend that's coming, you're not investing in learning, you're not invested in just research and listening to podcasts like these, understanding what's happening in the industry, before you blink, you could be gone. So yeah, that's the first misconception I want to address. The second one,
That's like kill or be killed, right? You have to-
exactly right.
Okay.
The second one is with regards to people thinking that AI is super hard. So, or, optimizing AI in your operations is super hard or technical. Now, the thing is, yes, there's a technical bit to it, but then AI being AI is also very easy to implement. The same way it's easy for you to get on ChatGPT and write yourself an email. There are different AI tools that makes this super easy for you. So I'll give you an example. If you're a founder and you want to build a prototype of your idea to test and make sure that it works in the market, there are AI tools like Replit that makes it super easy for you to do that. With just a bunch of prompts, you can literally have a full working website or mobile platform that you can use to test your idea. Now, you don't necessarily need to be a software engineer. You don't need to have any form of technical expertise. You can still go ahead and roll out your idea. So the misconception that AI is super hard and, you need to have some form of technical background. And usually when you're not an engineer, it could sound very scary. It's something that I think people need to readjust their mindsets to.
Maybe as an engineer, because I know a little bit about how the sausage is made.
Exactly. For you, I'm sure it's like a walk in the park because of your background, right?
Well, yeah, but also like you can see some of the power and some of the influence that AI tooling's having already. I've done some just like vibe coding recently in Cursor, and it's incredible the pace at which it operates, but it's also kind of surprising that whilst you can see that there's something really there. There are definitely bones. It's actually quite talentless at the moment.
Yeah.
And I spend a lot of time with junior developers, so I do a lot of education, and I can see how it's like a very well-read junior developer that has like none of the expertise or experience of someone that's broken some things sometimes, debugged some problems, and it's like it's read all the code on GitHub, good and bad, and it tries to apply all it's learned, good and bad. And I'm looking forward to a bit more discernment from that.
Exactly. I believe so. I mean, I have a friend who was telling me that most of the junior lawyers in their law firm are being replaced by AI because it's easy for AI to just like read and give you the assessment and whatnot. But then at the end of the day, when you have to go to court, the human discernment is also needed. It's not just enough to have the facts. So I feel like there's a fine middle line that if you know how to use AI, you could really give yourself the upper hand. Yeah.
I think it's kind of an undeniable industry shift. Like we can't avoid it. You can't argue our way out, but you simply cannot say, how are we going to have a junior developers? There's no junior. It's like, how are we going to have
Yeah. It's like refusing to use the internet and saying that.
Right.
Yeah.
We had the same discussions around Stack Exchange when it started, Stack Overflow, right? Junior developers aren't making their own mistakes anymore. So I guess we'll see. Look, let's get our feet back on the ground. I want to talk about how we scale products and scale technology operations, particularly in African markets. So I'm going to dig into a bit of your background and experience, right? So in terms of operational challenges when building a product in African markets, what do you say is the biggest challenge?
Okay, so the biggest challenge for sure is data. So compared to Western markets where there's structured data, there are historical research, there are just different data elements that are easily accessible. In African markets, that is not easily accessible. So that's the fundamental problem. Now, aside the fact that data is not easily accessible, so it's making it difficult for new businesses to even validate if Africa is a good market for them. Putting all of that aside, the next problem is we are not in the culture of using data to monitor our operations. So you would speak with the clients or speak with someone who's been running for 15 years and literally has no overview over their numbers aside what their accountant is recording in a book. So the entire data infrastructure, data culture, analyzing your data, and I'm not even talking about complex data as simple as sales, revenue, overhead costs, knowing your profit trends, knowing your downtimes, a lot of businesses do not have this. So this is sort of the value we provide for them. So, I mean, we recently had a client in the agricultural space, and I mean, Africa produces 60% of, like, 60% of Africa is focused on agri. And I mean, we had a client in the agricultural space, 15 years of experience. They were about to start the farming season, no data visibility whatsoever into what they're doing. So what we did was we built a dashboard that helped them to be able to track how their tractors are working, their fuel consumption. And you would think that if you've been operating for 15 years, this is something that they would have at their fingertips, but they didn't. So, I mean, the biggest challenge in terms of operations in the African space definitely has to do with data. If we can adopt a data-friendly attitude in our businesses, we definitely see like a higher growth, 100%.
That must have been transformative for your farming partner.
Sorry?
That must have been transformative to be able to have access to all that data.
It was.
And all of those.
And the most impactful part for me was, you know, farmers usually do not have access to credit facilities just because there isn't enough credit scoring, and, you know, banks just do not trust farmers. But then when we built this dashboard, and now the farmers and the tractor operators could now visualize their revenue, it was something that they could take to smaller financial institutions and now access credit facilities, something they haven't been able to do for 15 plus years. So, I mean, that was like an impactful experience using data and agri to actually help smallholder farmers to be able to have better livelihoods. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's phenomenal. So digging further back into your background, you've worked across a number of sectors, right? So you've worked on finance, right? You've worked in agri-tech, one way or another, and a bit of hardware as well. What would you say in terms of scaling? What would you say are the transferable approaches to help them from your background?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So yeah, I've worked in finance, I've worked in agri-tech, I've worked in fintech, I've worked in manufacturing. So these are, I mean, 4 completely different industries. And
completely different, right? Yeah, you've had quite a non-linear career.
Yeah.
Do you just roll the dice every couple of years and try? You know?
I mean, the recurring theme has always been operations and automation. So it's always been operations in these different industries. And I mean, the number one thing I would say, it's still the same answer I said previously, which is like understanding your data deeply, because I've seen companies scale in a year or two just because they started tracking the right metrics. Something as little as understanding, and this is even from a sales perspective, something as little as understanding how long it takes your sales rep to contact a lead can literally double your revenue. And this is a very minute data metric that a lot of people overlook. But then once you start to hammer down on a person's data metrics, it helps you scale 100%. In my experience in the finance industry, we launched a mobile app. It was one of the first of its kind in Ghana. And, you know, sometimes you're excited about vanity metrics. So, you know, 100,000 people have downloaded and we're excited. But when you drill down into the data, you realize that it's really just a vanity metric. And that allows you to focus on the right KPIs. So now you're looking at the number of sessions people have on the app per day. That just lets you know how sticky or how useful your app is. So, I mean, the answer still remains the same. If you really want to scale, you need to have a deep understanding of your data.
Yeah, that's something. That's quite a theme, and transferable to the next stage in your career, which could be aerospace engineering or
you still have to understand your data.
deep sea diving. Yeah, there's still time. Let's so a bit of reflection, I guess, to wrap us up on, you know, you as a leader and you as a woman in technology operations, right? So how have you, in what I think is a fairly male-dominated industry, how have you managed to carve space for yourself? And has anything shifted recently that's helped or hindered your ability to do that?
Yeah. I mean, this is an interesting question, and I get this question quite a lot. Usually my response to this question is not what people typically want to hear or people expect to hear, but that is my response. So I'll just start with a bit of a background about myself. So I have three brothers and no sister. So generally, I'm used to being in a, I wouldn't call it a male dominated space, but I'm used to being around men or guys. When I moved into the workforce, I mean, it is male dominated, especially when you're in tech in Africa. There are women who are doing exceptional things, and it's so nice, and it's encouraging to see, because then you know that there are other people doing what you're doing. But one thing I've always done to be able to thrive and scale and be as good as I am is I do not allow the, in quotes, stereotype of being a woman in tech to get in my head or be like, it's not at the back of my mind, is what I'm trying to say. So I see it as I'm working on something. I'm good enough to be in the same room with every other person. There's nothing special about you being a guy compared to me being a woman. So I'm not moving with the mindset of, you are the minority, people are looking down on you because you're a woman. I just don't think that way. And I've mentored a couple of women in the past, and I always tell them that it's a mindset thing. You cannot bully someone who does not feel like a victim. It's just not possible. So, keeping the mindset of, you deserve to be in the room, not because of like your gender, but because of what you can do, just helps you eliminate all of the noise, I would call it. And then you scale. And I mean, I've worked with the most cooperative men. Yes, once in a while you meet the other type, but more often than not, they're actually more willing to help than people perceive or assume they would be.
Yeah. So there's nothing in the back of your mind, you don't have that imposter syndrome? I've met people that have it, men and women. I've met people that don't have it, men and women.
I think it's a mindset thing, and I think I've been able to conquer that. But yeah, I actually do not have that imposter syndrome. I cannot even act like I do it because I don't.
That's wonderful. Yeah, that's wonderful. What advice, except for that, what advice would you give a woman that's starting in her first leadership role, or that is looking to work in a growth stage organization?
Oh, yeah. So the first advice I would give is, in whatever position you're currently in, the number one thing that I have seen help people be super successful is being proactive. I can't overemphasize that. Always put yourself in the shoes of the person immediately ahead of you. So whether that's your manager, your boss, whoever you're reporting to, and ask yourself, what is that thing that if I help them do, will get the company to scale and would make their work easier? It's usually not a hard question to answer. People just usually don't want to answer that question because they don't want to do the work. So I've always advised people to always ask themselves that question. And I mean, when you ask yourself that question and you actually take the initiative, more often than not, you automatically set yourself apart from every other person who is on the same level as you. Automatically, you start to shine because you're actually solving real problems. And even if you're not able to solve the actual problem, the mere fact that you have an interest in solving the problem makes your immediate manager or your boss or whatever you're trying to do, whoever you're trying to get to, have an interest in you. So that's the first thing. The second piece of advice I would give to anyone who wants to scale in their career is, do not be afraid to test out your ideas. AI has made it super easy now, but a lot of people actually have good ideas, but also the fear of failure, they hammer it in, they try it, it doesn't work, they let it go. But I think that eliminating the fear of testing your ideas and actually testing it, a lot of them might fail, but you might really just have that one breakthrough. And I mean, I tried different business models, business concepts before I finally landed on 40 Analytics, which is the one that is actually scaling. So, I mean, for women, there are a lot of things that come into your mind, especially when you're at, let's say, a certain age. You're sort of afraid to fail because of the family commitments you may have, or just the different things that come together to make you a woman. But overcoming that fear might really just be the stepping stone to going wherever you're planning to go.
No fear.
No fear. And be proactive.
And be proactive. Yeah, those are wonderful. Great bits of advice there. So, Afia Gyamera, thanks very much for joining us. Folks can find you on LinkedIn. Where can we find out about what you do?
Yes, so on LinkedIn, Afia Gyamera, and on Instagram as well.
Okay, and we'll drop those in the show notes. And 40 Analytics, there's a website, or are you on the gram?
Yes, 40 Analytics, both websites and on Instagram.
We'll find you. Thanks very much. Once again, I've been Sam Moorhouse at Turntabl, and my guest this week has been Afia Gyamera, the CEO and founder of 40 Analytics. Afia, thanks very much for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Sam. I had a great time.